I'm going to call the Assembly Committee on Judiciary back to order. Welcome to late night Assembly Judiciary, which I think is the first time this session. Thank you for your patience, committee and members of the public, as we work through some issues today. We have 3 additional bills on the work session document that we are going to consider at this time. For members and members of the public, you will find the work session document uploaded onto Nellis. And if you're looking at that, it's the final 3 bills. So the bills there are not in chronological order because we've already finished the 9 from this morning. But at this time, we are going to pick up with Senate Bill 57. So you will find that on Nellis if you'd like to follow along as Ms. Thornton takes us through Senate Bill 57.
Thank you, Chair. Diane Thornton, Legislative Council Bureau. For the record, our first bill tonight is Senate Bill 57. This bill was sponsored by the Senate Committee on Government Affairs on behalf of Clark County and heard in committee on May 5th. The bill authorizes a board of county commissioners or a governing body of a city to recover an unpaid fine or fee for an offense relating to real property by making it a special assessment against the real property, which may be collected in the same manner as ordinary county taxes. The bill also eliminates the requirement that 180 days or 12 months, as applicable, have elapsed for a special assessment to be imposed. There's one amendment to the bill. Justin Harrison from the Clark County proposed an amendment, and it does the following. First, it revises Section 1, subsection 2A by deleting "and". Secondly, it revises Section 1, subsection 2 to provide that an ordinance adopted by a board of county commissioners to recover any unpaid fine or fee for an offense relating to real property must provide a process in which the special assessment against the property can be extinguished if the property comes into compliance and remains in compliance for 180 days. And lastly, it amends Section 1 to include the definition of an offense relating to real property, to include any violation of the transient lodging laws or abandoned properties. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Thornton. And that amendment that's referenced is the amendment that was presented at the hearing. I'll let committee members know there were a lot of additional efforts to try to find additional compromise or amendments on this measure, and ultimately those efforts were not fruitful. And also, before I take questions, I will let members know on this particular bill, I intend to take a motion to amend and send to the floor without a policy recommendation. So that's going to be the contemplated amendment, just so everyone knows. But at this time, any questions on Senate Bill 57 as detailed in the work session document? Assemblywoman Kasama.
Thank you, Chair. So it sounds like I've been looking for amendments. It sounds like the assessments were not able to be made a junior lien. Is that correct? A junior lien to the banks?
Yeah, I could go ahead and take that. So I think there were discussions about that, robust discussions, and I think in the end analysis, we didn't get to a place where we felt like we were comfortable doing that and that it made sense statutorily. So at this time, there is no secondary lien status. It would remain a primary lien because it would be part of the tax lien, which is already primary.
Correct. So unfortunately, I'd have to be a no then because that would interfere with the first deed of the banks, and that could increase premium pricing on loans in areas, and I have trouble with that.
Understand. Thank you, Assemblywoman Kasama. So we are on questions. That obviously was a question and a comment, but any other questions about the bill? Okay, I don't see questions, and we will have a chance for discussion on the motion. But so I'll be looking for a motion to amend and send to the floor without recommendation.
I'd so move to amend and send to the floor without recommendation.
Do I have a second? That was a close one. So Vice Chair Wynn will get the motion. We'll give the second to Assemblywoman Marzola. Any discussion on that motion beyond what we've heard? Assemblyman Wheeler?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate you trying to send it to the floor without recommendation, but I'm still going to have to go no on it just because I don't like it. Thanks.
Thank you. Assemblywoman Bilbray Axelrod?
Thank you. I will be voting for it out of committee, but I do still think the bill needs some work, so I'm happy the way we're sending it. Thanks.
Thank you. Further discussion? Let me just say I've had a lot of discussions on this bill. I don't know that the bill's in the place where it needs to be. I understand that Clark County in particular has a problem, but I also understand some of the counter arguments. So The reason we're doing the motion this way is essentially giving a lifeline for another week to see if some compromise or solution can be reached, but I will just say that I understand the problem, but I don't know that we're there yet. So that is why we're taking this motion, I believe, for the first time this session in Assembly Judiciary. So seeing no further discussion, again, the motion is to amend and send to the floor without recommendation on Senate Bill 57. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Could I have a show of hands on the nays, please? We have nays from Assemblywoman Krasner, Assemblywoman Kasama, Assemblywoman Hanson, and Assemblyman Wheeler. So the motion does carry. Oh, I'm sorry, Assemblywoman Krasner was a no as well. The motion carries, and I'll take the floor statement on that one, committee. So 2 more bills to go. We'll go next to Senate Bill 317.
Senate Bill 317 was sponsored by Senator Orenshaw and heard in committee on May 4th. This bill provides that if an employee of a juvenile justice services department and a county whose population is more than 700,000 is put on leave without pay, pending the outcome of a criminal prosecution, the employee will be awarded back pay for the duration of leave if the charges against the employee are dismissed, the employee is found not guilty at trial, or the employee is not subject to punitive action in connection with the alleged misconduct. The bill also provides that the period of 180 days during which an employee of such a juvenile justice service department may resolve pending criminal charges begins after arrest. There's one amendment proposed by Mr. McCann, Executive Director, Nevada Association of Public Safety Officers. He proposed the amendment that provides that a peace officer employed by a Department of Juvenile Justice Services shall be awarded back pay if the charges are dismissed or the peace officer is found not guilty at trial and the peace officer is not subject to punitive action in connection with the alleged misconduct. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Thornton. Do I have any questions on Senate Bill 317 as detailed in the work session document? Assemblyman Wheeler?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Looking at the amendment right now, changing from employee to peace officer, I think is a good idea. And there was I remember the amendment that was presented to me in my office looked a little different here. Maybe legal could tell me, does this, oh wait, I see it here, I'm sorry. Never mind, it's getting late, I'm getting old.
It's no problem, Assemblyman. It sure is getting late, and it's been a long week, so no problem at all. Any other questions from committee members on Senate Bill 317? Sure, go ahead, Assemblyman O'Neill.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to clarify, I keep hearing there's another amendment. Is this the only one that's being proposed, though, correctly?
Thank you. So this is the only one that we're intending to work session at this time. You are indeed correct. Mr. Ortiz is with us in the room, and he has been working on a further amendment that I honestly think is worthy of consideration, but I just think given the hour, it's not something we're going to be able to get up and down today without keeping you all here until probably midnight, which I don't want to do. So I will say I am very much looking forward to discussions continuing to happen next week if this bill is to get out of committee to potentially incorporate some of that amendment. And welcome, Senator Orenshaw.
Can I just speak out of turn then, Chair?
Please go ahead.
Just to say, I want to be a yes on this. I am confused right now on the amendments. With all due respect, I'm going to end up being a no, but I know we can get to yes. I just am, it's my confusion on it. It may be late at night and et cetera, but for now I'll be a no, Chair.
Thank you, Assemblyman O'Neill. And Senator Orenshaw, just for your edification, what we were discussing is the motion I intend to take is the one that includes the amendment that was proffered from Mr. McCann. And there aren't any other amendments in the work session document, but Assemblyman O'Neill raised the question of an additional amendment, and I'd indicated that Mr. Ortiz, in fact, is working on another amendment that I think can be discussed and considered next week if the bill is to get out and, make the best determination about how to proceed. So I wanted to fill you in on that discussion so far and ask if you had anything else you wanted to add.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. James Orenshaw, State Senate District 21. Apologize for being a little late getting up from downstairs. But yes, we have very recently, as of a few hours ago, got an amendment from Mr. Ortiz. And I know that Mr. McCann, Mr. Richardson from the Juvenile Justice Peace Officers Association have been reviewing it. And I'd like to say that we're all in agreement, but unfortunately, we're not there yet. I still think that it's possible and hope that the bill could live another day to try to get to a point where there is agreement.
Thank you, Senator. Additional questions on Senate Bill 317? Okay, I don't see additional questions, so at this time, I'll take a motion to amend and do pass.
I'll move to amend and do pass.
Do I have a second? We have a motion from Vice Chair Wynne. We have a second from Assemblywoman Cohen. We've heard some discussion on the motion from Assemblyman O'Neill. Is there any other discussion? Assemblyman Wheeler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thought, I'd wait until the actual time to make this discussion, Assemblyman. But I think that I can get there on this bill. I really do. I think that it needs a little bit more work, and I think Mr. Ortiz and Mr. McCann and the Senator working together may just get me there on this bill. But I'm going to vote no out of committee, and believe it or not, reserve to go yes. So I probably don't have to tell you when I get down there if I go yes, huh? Thanks.
We will eagerly await that day when your no in committee turns to a yes on the floor. I don't know that that's happened yet this session.
Hasn't yet, but we'll give it a try on this one if they can get together.
Great, thank you. Any further discussion? Assemblywoman Krasner.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to vote yes to get it out of committee and reserve my right.
Thank you. Further discussion? Okay, don't see further discussion. Again, the motion is to amend and do pass Senate Bill 317 with the amendment in the work session document. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? We have nays from Assemblyman O'Neill, Assemblywoman Kasama, Assemblywoman Hanson, and Assemblyman Wheeler. So that motion does carry. And who would like the floor statement on that one? Do we have any volunteers? Good. I'll give it to myself if there are no volunteers. Look, Assemblyman Orentlicker raised his hand, so thank you, Assemblyman. Thank you for being here, Senator. Committee, that takes us to the final item on our agenda, and that would be Senate Bill 369, I believe. Ms. Thornton?
Thank you, Chair. Senate Bill 369 was sponsored by the Senate Committee on Judiciary on behalf of the committee to conduct an interim study of issues relating to pretrial release of defendants in criminal cases. This bill revises statutes regarding the imposition of bail or other conditions of release to comport with the Nevada Constitution. There's one amendment proposed by Senators Harris and Scheibel. This amendment revises Section 3 of the bill, and it does the following. First, it amends subsection 1 by changing "and" to "or" to clarify that bail may be imposed only for two purposes: to protect the safety of the community or to ensure the appearance of the accused at all stages of the proceedings. And it makes conforming changes in subsection 2, adds language from NRS 178.484 regarding the right to bail, and provides language that the court may impose reasonable conditions on the person as it deems the least restrictive means necessary to protect the safety of the community or to ensure that persons will appear at all times and places ordered by the court. It adds language from the mock-up from Assembly Bill 424 from the proposed amendment from Senator Harris. Next, it strikes subsection 5 of the bill, which allowed a sheriff or chief of police, upon showing of good cause, to release without bail any person charged with misdemeanor. It revises subsection 6 to provide that a person must sign a document before his or her release, stating that the person will appear in court, pardon me, comply with any other conditions imposed, waive the right to extradition proceedings if the person fails to appear and is arrested in another state, and understands that the court may revoke the release without bail. Next, it revises subsection 7 to provide the document is effective upon the person's signature, and lastly, revises subsection 8 by authorizing the court to revoke bail and remand the person into custody. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Thornton. Do we have questions on Senate Bill 369 as detailed in the work session document? I believe I had a question from Assemblywoman Gonzalez.
Thank you, Chair. I was just curious if all the stakeholders who litigated this case are in agreement with this bill and this amendment.
Thank you. Melanie Scheibel from Senate District 9. And I think that with the exception of the defense bar, who is still in opposition to the added policy of a presumption that anybody who commits a crime with a firearm will have some conditions imposed on them before release. Yes, everybody is in agreement. This reflects the law as it was stated by the Supreme Court in the Valdez-Jimenez decision. There were also a couple of other places where we had to make some decisions about how to reflect the Supreme Court's decision. For example, the process by which somebody could be released prior to their hearing, and that language has been vetted with the public defenders, the courts, the district attorneys, and the Nevada Attorneys for Criminal Justice. So to the best of my knowledge and ability, it reflects a consensus. And I'm still happy to work with stakeholders if there is something that we missed, because it has been a very lengthy process and very, very many provisions of multiple bills.
Okay, thank you, Senator. Are there additional questions for Chair Scheibel? I do not see additional questions, so at this time I'll take a motion to amend and do pass. Assemblyman O'Neill has made the motion. Do I have a second? Assemblyman Wheeler gave me the hand sign over there, so I'll give it to Assemblyman Wheeler for the second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Assemblywoman Nguyen.
Thank you, and thank you, Senator Scheibel, for presenting this. I know that these are bills that came out of an interim study that we both sat on. Unfortunately, at this time, I am a no on this. I will continue to work with you. I know that I've spent a great deal of time with you and Senator Harris and Assemblyman Flores and others working on this bill. I just feel like with the amendment and the rebuttable presumption when it comes to firearms, that this is kind of a step backwards from that Valdez-Jimenez thing. So at this time, I will be voting no out of committee, but I look forward to working with you to continue to try to get the language right.
Thank you, Assemblywoman. We'll go next to Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong.
Thank you, Chair Yeager, and thank you, Senator Scheibel. We had a brief chat. I'm going to ditto Assemblywoman Nguyen. I think there's some room for discussion, and I'm happy to have that discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblywoman. Assemblywoman Gonzalez.
The same. Thank you.
Thank you for keeping your comments brief on a Friday night. Any further discussion from the committee? Assemblyman Wheeler?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to say that what I'm hearing is everybody's got a little problem with the bill, so therefore it is, nobody likes it. It is therefore the perfect bill. So I will be voting yes.
Thank you, Assemblyman. You didn't say it was a simple bill, so it wasn't the kiss of death. Okay, further discussion from anybody? I see no further discussion. Again, the motion is to amend and do pass Senate Bill 369. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Nay. Could I have a show of hands? We have nays from Vice Chair Nguyen, Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong, and Assemblywoman Gonzalez. That means the motion does carry, and I'll give the floor statement to Assemblyman O'Neill on that one. So thank you, Chair Scheibel, and I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, committee, so that takes us through everything on our agenda. We've already taken public comment this morning. Just a couple of announcements. One, I wanted to congratulate all of our law school graduates from the William S. Boyd School of Law who graduated this morning, and Assemblywoman Hardy's daughter graduated this morning, which is why she wasn't with us. So congratulations to all those new attorneys. And just please, when you're in front of Assembly Judiciary as a future attorney, if you could keep your comments brief, that would be appreciated. And then committee, I want to thank you for today. I know it was a very long day. We were waiting around quite a bit. I appreciate that. In terms of next week, we don't have any bills, so Monday has been canceled. We will not have a meeting. And then I'm going to wait to see on Monday afternoon if we get a bill on the Assembly floor on Monday. There's a chance we could have a meeting Tuesday, but if you're asking me to bet, I'd say we're probably not going to have one on Tuesday. But so with all of that behind us, please get some rest this week. Next week's going to be another long week as we march towards Friday's deadline. Again, really appreciate you, committee. Have a great weekend. For those of you traveling, be safe, and we'll see you back here in this committee room at some time in the near future. This meeting is adjourned.